What's up, guys? One Koala Man here, bringing you episode number 42 of our fairy tale reviews. And a lot goes down in today's episode, and we move on to a new storyline. And this storyline is one of my favorites of the entire fairy tale series, behind the tournament and behind the Tartarus arc. I'll get into those when the time comes. But if you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to hit that like button down below. Be sure to answer the question of the day and or follow me on Twitter, both which will be in the description below. So give those a bit of a look. Be sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel, because I welcome every single one of you to this channel, old and new. So yeah, hit the subscribe if you want more content and all that good stuff. And with all that said and done, I believe, let's get this mother underway. So we start today's episode off in Lucy's house, and Lucy and Plu are in there, and they're looking around to see if anybody's snooping around, because there's always somebody else besides Lucy in her own house. But she doesn't see anybody, so she goes in the bathtub with Plu, and Plu like wrinkles up and he like deflates when he's in the water or whatever. But after that, she tries to go to bed, and she sees Natsu's scarf, so she pulls it, and Natsu comes out from her bed along with Happy, and so I guess you can't really go a day without having someone in your house, right? But Natsu's kind of feeling a bit under the weather, and that's kind of assumed because he did eat all that ether nano back at the Tower of Heaven. And Happy and Lucy are talking about how back in the day Natsu would fight against Loxus, and he tried eating Loxus's lightning, and then he got the same sickness from that. So he pretty much can't eat anything, except for food and fire, or else it'll just make him sick. And then Happy's about to leave with Natsu, and like a note falls from his little sack that he carries on his around his neck, and it's mentioning this harvest festival, which is like a yearly festival where all of Magnolia celebrates. And he mentions that there's like this harvest, like Miss Fairy Tale pageant to see who's like the most beautiful girl in fairy tale and all that, and the winner gets like a lot of freaking jewel, and it's enough for Lucy to pay off her rent. So now we go to, I want to say Shirotsume or Hirotsume, and it's like the town of like this dark guild, and like these three shady characters are over there at that dark guild talking about like, you made fun of us, now we're just gonna wreck you. And these people are freaking nuts. They like wreck every single person in the guild. 3 people wrecked the entire dark guild by themselves. And turns out that these people are actually fairy tale members. And we find out that this group of 3 fairy tale members is called the Thunder Legion. And they are not only members of fairy tale, but they are also Loxus's own personal bodyguards. And now we're at Magnolia, where the Harvest Festival is, beginning. And Makarov and Mira Jane are walking along carrying like bags of groceries for whatever reason. And Mira's talking about like, I wish Loxus were here to, celebrate this. And that triggers like some emotion in Makarov, and he has a flashback of Loxus back when he was a little tiny kid. And my boy Loxus was such an adorable little kid back then. So what the freaking heck happened to him? Why is he such a cocky little D-bag to everybody when he was such a little good kid back in the day? And so now we're with the squad, and the squad is Natsu, Happy, Gray, and Juvia at this point in time. And then we get introduced to a new member of Fairy Tail, and his name is Warren, and he specializes in telepathy magic, and he's like never there because he's always on a different job. And I mean, there's really nothing much else to say about Warren because we don't know anything else about him. And then from meeting Warren, we go down to the, I believe it's the guild hall, where the Miss Fairy Tale pageant is about to begin. And this fairy tale pageant is pretty much like a Miss USA or Miss Universe. Like they're having like their bikini round or talent round or whatever it is, because Kana uses her cards to change up into a bikini, Juvia changes into a bikini, Levi does like some funky Sanskrit or whatever magic, Urza re-equips into like some goth look. It's actually pretty conservative, seeing how everybody else is, like half naked, except for Levi, because, she doesn't really have to show off a bikini, so oh well. And then Lucy's about to do her very own cheer that she's came up with her celestial spirits. And right when we almost get to see Lucy's hopefully amazing cheer with her spirits, a lady comes in by the name of Evergreen, and she's one of the Thunder Legion and one of the people that we saw taking down that Dark Guild earlier. And she just comes and stops everything pretty much. And then Evergreen does this weird thing with her eyes, and everybody's saying, "Don't look in her eyes, Lucy." But she looks in her eyes, and Lucy turns to stone like that. And then they reveal like behind the curtains, and every single girl that was in the pageant is completely made out of stone. And then my boy Loxus shows up, and Loxus doesn't show up alone. He shows up with this green-haired guy named Freed, and then this guy with a mask and these little totem poles floating around him by the name of Bixlow, or Vixlow, however you want to say his name. But now the Thunder Legion is finally in the Fairy Tail Guild Hall. And Loxus is saying he has a game set up for everybody. He's saying it is the Harvest Festival after all, so why not let's, have a bit of a game, a bit of a fairy tale battle royale. And the rules of this game are that the Thunder Legion are going to be scattered around the Magnolia. Loxus is going to be hiding out somewhere. And every single member of Fairy Tail must fight against each other in search for Loxus and the Thunder Legion. So it's kind of like a Fairy Tail civil war, but nobody really wants to do it, but they kind of have to. And they have only 3 hours to do this, or else, all the girls are going to be freaking rubble by the end of this. And so Natsu tries to pick a fight with Loxus already, and Natsu just gets freaking destroyed right away. So all of the Fairy Tail members head on out of the guild hall, and they go on their search for the Thunder Legion along with Loxus. And then Makarov is saying, "I can't believe you're doing this. Why are you doing this?" And so he's going to go out, but he can't because Freed put like some rune or something like that. It's like a rule book or something, and it says that either stones or people over the age of 80 cannot escape the guild hall. And so he's pretty much a sitting duck at this point. And then Natsu finally wakes up from getting shocked by Loxus, and then he tries to escape, but he can't either. So they're both sitting ducks at this point. And then we move on to Alzak, Jet, and Droy, and they met up with each other saying "Hey, have you found anything?" "No, I haven't found anything." And then this force field comes up above them, or around them, and it's saying that all 3 of them have to fight. So it's like I just said, it's a Fairy Tail civil war, and now it's a 3-way triple threat match between Alzak, Droy, and Jet. And so they're going at it. Jet and Droy are kind of double teaming on Alzak, but Alzak finishes him off with this guns magic tornado shot, I believe, and he just completely destroys both of them. And he's saying, "Please guys, forgive me for doing this. I have to save Biska." And if you don't know, Biska is the cowgirl that hangs out with him. Now, they're not a couple, but, they act like one, and they get really shy if anybody mentions that they're a couple. But, they like each other, obviously. So, Al is the victor, and he goes on while Jet and Droy are just in the street doing whatever. And that is the end of the episode of Fairy Tail. Alrighty, guys, you already know I don't like to end off these episodes without a question of the day. And today's question of the day is, if you were to see 2 Fairy Tail members or 3 Fairy Tail members go at it, which 2 would you want to see? Whether or not the girls were still, stone. Now, I would love to see Juvia versus Gray, because that would be a very interesting fight, because someone has to win. And Juvia, I don't know, she's just madly in love with Gray. If she wasn't made out of stone at this point, I would love to see that happen. But let me know down in the comments, which 2... hear that emphasis on the H. Which 2 would you want to see battle it out until someone gets knocked out, or even worse, hopefully that doesn't happen. Let me know down in the comment section below, and as always guys, keep it cool.